guys have such phenomenal designs, right? So you guys keep churning out like these beautiful projects. So do clients come to you and say things like, I want the exact same design. Can you repeat it? Can you give us some of these elements? How do you address these? Or is this even a problem?
Capturing the ambience or the vibe of the space more than kind of specific elements. So I think that's what we get a lot of. So we like the way you did a certain space, and we like that kind of fluidity with it, and kind of that's pretty much it.
Thanks to Instagram, clients remind us of our previous work more than we remember.
That's true.
And they do come. They do come asking us about that, but like Jason said, that it's more the vibe is what they're looking at rather than the exact same thing. And my answers were, let me do something better for you. This was done 2 years back.
I think I need to learn this. I just completed my house, my own residence some time back, and my neighbor wants a house done, right? So I hope she's not going to be watching this, but she came to me and she's like, I love your flooring, I love the arch, and I love your door. Can we mirror it? And I was just like, we could, but let me give you something a little better. Okay, thank you guys. So you guys have been, you all have clients internationally, you all have done projects across continents, you all have an expansive portfolio. So when it comes to global influences, art movements, inspirations, is it difficult for you all to convince clients that this is who we are and this is what we do? Or do you kind of, is there a middle ground somewhere?
I think it's always a battle. You might have those rare few clients that kind of, just tell you to go with the flow and do what you're good at, and that's why we're hiring you. But you will have that constant kind of back and forth struggle with a lot of clients, because, with this whole influx of like every design page out there, whether be it, like tons of social blogs on design. Everybody is kind of, educating themselves with what's out there, and they think they know what's best for their space. So you have to kind of, it's your job to convince them, listen, something might work, something might not work. But I think, as you mentioned about travel also, I mean, it's the best education for any designer, because there's so much that you kind of learn and kind of imbibe, and you want to kind of take home with you. It can come out in your work in the simplest of ways, which you wouldn't even realize. But I think it's the best way to learn.
I really believe that good clients make good projects, and a lot of us, I think, in the fraternity believe that, and we always look for the best clients. Now, what is a good client? A client who's evolved or well-traveled.
It doesn't micromanage.
And who's as nice to you after the first payment.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
But also a good client is somebody who gives you a very clear brief of what they want. That will distinguish your project, your one project against another one. And, that's the beauty of our work, that, how we can differentiate our work is we differentiate our work with the kind of client's brief that we get in each project. Having said that, yes, travel really influences both clients and us as architects and designers in sort of shaping up how our practice evolves over time. I've now, over the years, with the little experience I've had with various clients, I feel that you should look for clients who give you a clear brief, but not clients who give you pictures of other designers, other architects, because that is never going to work. We had a terrible fallout with a client because
it's, I think, borderline offensive also, no? Sometimes. I mean, it's a little
kind of,
because you look at the picture and you're just like, oh, like.
And it happens to all of us. Like
it happened to me last evening.
Really?
But, clients have to understand that they are coming to you for your style of working, not somebody else's style of working. If they want you to do what somebody else does, they might as well go to. So my answer to clients like these after some years of working is that if you want that person's work, it's best you go to that person and get this done.
Yeah, if you like their work, might as well kind of.
And I think to also add to Rajiv's point, I think it's boring for a designer to kind of do the same thing every time for every project, Because, I mean, at the end of the day, you also want to show that you are a bit versatile in what you do, maybe not do something drastically different which is outside your comfort zone, but at least kind of within the realm of what you know and what you're good at. So, you know.
But there's a thin line, you know, between, like you said, being in your comfort zone and being versatile versus just trying something that, you know, is going to be a disaster.
Absolutely.
Like all of us have that issue where you create something unique and then the client will say, show me a reference on Pinterest.
Yeah.
The whole point
Absolutely.
is that this is a design unique to us, right?
Yeah.
So,
Right,
I mean,
right.
yeah.
Right.
So,
Yeah, you always look for clients who are ready to experiment with you. And I mean, the projects also become rich if they experiment as much as you do.
Yeah.
I think that because you guys have been in the industry for so many years, have you all finally learned to say no?
I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us how you'll do it. Educate us, because nobody can do. It's so difficult to do, you know.
I think once you kind of, you know, you've kind of completed a few years in this profession, and you kind of have that background kind of history and knowledge and kind of, you know, the projects that you want to work on and that you want to kind of give your time to. Because see, it's at the end of the day, it's like a two-way street. I mean, you're going to be giving in like 15 months or so of your time to a certain project. And if you are not in the same headspace, or you and your client probably don't share the same design vocabulary, it's going to be tough, and it's going to be a stressful 15 months, you know? So you want to enjoy the process as well and give your best. So I think after a point, you know, like, okay, this is going to work for me, this is not going to work for me. And, but I think that only comes after a few years.
After a lot of experience.
Because, you know, at the end of the day, you want to get that experience, be it a good, be it a bad project. But, you know, you learn from everything. So, yeah.
Also, just to add to that, I think design, you know, the beauty of design is it's very subjective. It's not objective. You can't grade it. You might like something, I might not like it, and Jason might like it. So, you know, same for clients. So the best answer to tell them is, you know, I can do better than this. And let's try and do better. And obviously they don't know what they want. That's why they're showing you a Pinterest image. At the end of the day, you know, they're putting the money, the hard work. It's their dream too, just not yours. You know, you will design and move out and go to your next project, but the client has to live in that space forever. So obviously they have concerns.
Scariest ones. I've always realized that they are the scariest ones, because
I don't know what I'm doing, and then there's one board with like 400
Yeah,
images.
exactly.
Like, these are my references.
Exactly,
Do you think a project could look like this? And I'm just like,
yeah, maybe not, but
At a certain level, I think you have to also gauge that if the client has a lot of trust deficit, you know, in you as a designer, then I think there are two ways to sort of go further. One, you sort of make them comfortable, and if they're comfortable, great. I mean, you're going to have a great relationship with them later on. If you can't, then you tell them, you know, this is, you know, I've been doing this for years.
yeah.
I've had repeat clients, and they love what I do. We've delivered so much. Have some faith in us. This is what we do for a living, right? So I think if you make them comfortable, hopefully most should come around.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Jason said, there are still going to be some doubters who might not, and make your life miserable.
They're always there, yeah. Also, when somebody comes to you and says, again, this is a question that we had been asked by one of our viewers, and they asked me to ask you. So the question arises with them saying that when you're doing a project, right, and the client comes to you and says, I'll get you a lot more work. So
that dangling that carrot in front of you,
That always happens.
Every time.
I mean, it's been 12 years and I still get it, you know, like, so how do you deal with that? Like, it's...
I just tell them that's well and good, and it's great if that happens, but for this moment, I don't think it works for me. So, you know, that's how you kind of have to kind of put...
So you guys still get that, even now, sometimes?
Yeah.
I'm glad.
I don't know, I think it's
I'll
kind
give you
of,
so many
they think they're kind of
references
encouraging you to do a better job of their space by dangling this guy in front of you. Lesser. Yeah, exactly, absolutely.
Yeah,
that's always the underlying...
It's all about the commercials, that's what it is.
Yeah.